Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mistica here, and I guess if you're watching this, if you were continuing, or if you've been watching this Let's Play, welcome back, I guess, to Cupid, a visual novel. So, last we left off, I had explained that we were going to take a break from recording this game, and the reason why was because in my attempt to record the next episode for it, it didn't record the audio of the mic. Hopefully everything should be fine now. And I'm going to try to make the episodes for this Let's Play a little longer than what I typically tend to do. I tend to do maybe 20 to 30 minutes. We're going to try maybe shooting for 30 to 40, maybe even 45, in order to try to speed this Let's Play along and to finish it up faster. So, without further ado, let's see where we last left off. Rosa stood in front of the door to Catherine's room, her hand raised to knock, but she didn't move. Doubt was creeping into her mind like a spider crawling on a wall. She remembered the feeling of hunger from the night they had kissed. Oh yes, because they got drunk and stuff happened. It was both familiar and utterly alien, like an instinct, an urge she hadn't felt for a long time. A shiver ran down her spine at the memory. She's avoiding me, isn't she? She hadn't seen Catherine for a few days since that night. She'd been spending a lot of her time alone, locked away in her room. Whenever Rosa saw her in the chateau, she would excuse herself and leave. Rosa never got the courage to push the issue. But days had passed, and Catherine's behavior began to worry her even more. Okay, so let's see. She is selfish just like everyone else. She is probably repulsed by you. Let's try to go for this option. What did you expect? She's selfish, just like everybody else. She used you as an experiment, and now that her curiosity is satiated, she's done with you. You don't matter to her. You probably never did. Which is a good thing, darling. You see her true face. And Rosa says nothing. No matter. She's never going to love you like Mother does. Like all the others, she's going to leave you in the end, and then you're all alone. Only Mother will stay with you forever and love you. So be a good child and listen to what I tell you. Rosa bit her lower lip. This was all her fault, wasn't it? She needed to make it right. If Rosa talked to her properly, she was sure they would come to an understanding. She had to explain to her. What exactly? They had both been drunk, and the kisses didn't mean anything. Her stomach churned at this thought. In the end, it didn't matter what Rosa wanted. Catherine obviously regretted what had happened. She didn't want to lose her friend because of too much wine. Rosa gently knocked on Catherine's door. Catherine, may I come in? Please, Catherine, I'm sorry for the mess, but can we talk? Rosa waited for an answer. No one came. Rosa turned the handle slowly and entered. Okay, so just to recap, like I said, I had played through this section of the game, so I'm already aware of what's already going on, and Catherine unfortunately has kind of lost her marbles a bit. Usually Catherine's room was brightly lit. The windows lit in a fresh breeze, often carrying the sweet smell of flowers in spring. Right now, however, the curtains were drawn closed. The few candles burning on a desk weren't enough to banish the darkness completely. Oh, and there's the sounds again. The air hung heavy in the room. Catherine didn't turn around when the door opened. She just stood there, unmoving, in front of a wall. The sounds of something scratching along a rough surface filled the air. Rosa felt a shiver run down her spine at this sound, and her muscles tensed instinctively. She approached Catherine slowly and apprehensively. When she came closer... I don't like those noises. She could hear that Catherine was whispering the same few words over and over again. He loves me. He loves me not. Catherine giggled. He loves me. He loves me not. Catherine, are you all right? Rosa stepped next to Catherine and peered at her outstretched hand. In the dim light, it took a moment for her to make sense of what she saw. Yep, Catherine's lost her mind. Catherine was scratching at the wall. The damage she had done to the wall was nothing compared to what she had done to her fingers. They were dripping with blood from where her skin was cracked and peeled back. Cath? Oh my god, Catherine, stop! Rosa's guts twisted horribly. She grabbed Catherine's shoulder to turn her around away from the wall. She blinked a couple of times before finally reacting to Rosa's presence. Tears welled up in Catherine's bloodshot eyes at the sight of her friend, spilling over her pale cheeks and chapped lips. She held on tightly to Rosa and started sobbing uncontrollably. "Cath, what's going on? Why are you hurting yourself?" Catherine tried to pull herself together as best she could, wiping her nose on the sleeve of her bloody dress. It was heart-wrenching to look at the mess that her friend had become. "Oh, Rosa, you need to help me. You need to protect me from him. Don't let him touch me." "Who?" "Let him what? Why do you need me to protect you?" Suddenly Catherine shushed her, a finger to her lips and with a scared expression on her face. She leaned in near towards the door and listened intensely for a moment. "Oh, he's here?" The scared expression turned into manic and frightening glee. "I think he's coming. Gilmay, honey. Gilmay, I love you." After yelling the last words, Catherine started sobbing again, with more tears streaming down her face. Before Rosa could try to console her, however, her sobs faded into hysterical laughter. It barely left time for her to gasp for breath. "Oh, Gilmay, I love the way you pull me close to hug me. And how kind you are to everyone you meet. And your eyes. Your eyes. What's going on here?" Gilmay stood in the door, frowning. His eyes wandered across the room and caught sight of Catherine. His face froze in shock. Catherine stared wide-eyed for a second. Good Lord, I'm not reading right today. Then she snarled at him like a ferocious animal. "You bastard! Get out of my room! Get lost!" She stormed over to the desk and grabbed a letter opener from the table. With this weapon in a firm grip and malice in her eyes, she rushed to Gilmay. "Don't you dare show your face to me!" "Catherine, no!" The knife plunged into Gilmay's arm. Blood quickly stained his sleeve red. But Catherine only recoiled to strike back, with no hint of stopping. "Oh my God! Catherine!" And of course we don't get to see anything, just the room. They wrestled for a moment until Gilmay was able to grab Catherine's hand. She dropped the letter opener and slumped to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Rosa quickly picked up the blade and stepped out of reach. When she turned around again, Gilmay had already pulled Catherine to a tight embrace. Between her sobs and hiccups, Rosa could hear her apologizing. "Oh God, I'm so sorry, Gilmay." "What?" "I'm so sorry. Do you love me? Please, Gilmay, do you love me?" She repeated the question over and over again, no matter how many times Gilmay reassured her. It was probably a good idea to find something to calm her down. Rosa didn't feel completely at ease doing so, but she left her friend alone with the Marquis for a few minutes. Later she returned with a glass of water laced with valerian root. Gilmay had already coaxed Catherine to lie down on her bed, while Rosa helped her drink the nightcap. Or nightcup, or whatever. They watched her in silence as she drifted into a fitful sleep. Gilmay and Rosa left the room. They didn't speak for a while, both still dazed and shocked by the turn of events. Surprisingly his arm looks fine." "How's your arm?" Gilmay hid... Oh, of course he hid it. Gilmay hid the injured arm away from view. "Fine. Just a scratch." The bleeding hadn't stopped yet. Rosa could tell the cut was deeper than Gilmay let on. What is happening? What has gotten into Catherine? Gilmay just shrugged with a cold expression of worry on his face. "I wish I knew, Rosa. The state she is in scares me, to be honest. It might be an onset of an episode waiting to happen. Like her sister before." Rosa's mouth tightened. "How dare you say that? She is not crazy." Rosa searched his face for traces of a lie, but it was like a mask contorted by worry. She couldn't tell whether he was lying or telling the truth. "She asked me to protect her from you." "Did you hurt her?" "You know I wouldn't." "She is unwell. It seems I am the target of her psychotic state." "That is all I know." "But why?" "Stop. Stop it, Rosa. It hurts me too, seeing her like this. Please stop questioning me further. I'm going to call for a physician. Please stay with her in the meantime. See that she doesn't harm herself again." For a moment he met her eyes. Before she could say more, however, he turned around and left. "See if his pants have caught fire yet, child." There was nothing she could do about him for now. Rosa left to get a bowl of fresh water and a towel to tend to Catherine's fingers. Okie dokie then, so here we go. So, Catherine's not in her right mind right now. Catherine had an uneasy sleep while Rosa cleaned her wounds as best as she could. She muttered, squealed, and whimpered like a child. It seemed that she was having a nightmare, but Rosa didn't dare wake her before the physician arrived. Instead, she stroked her hair, told her that everything would be all right. She tried to appease the growing confusion of voices in her head. What had happened between Catherine and Gilmay? Their relationship was often erratic, but Rosa dismissed the possibility that this was one of their usual fights. Rosa remembered Catherine's face, filled with utter spite at the man. But she had never seen that much hatred in Catherine. After a few minutes, Catherine's eyelids fluttered open. She looked around with some confusion, then her gaze settled on Rosa. Tears welled up in her eyes. Rosa? Rosa held her outstretched hand. Her heart broke when she saw Catherine wince. Oh, Rosa, I'm so scared. Everything is such a mess. It's going to be all right, Cat. Don't worry now. Just try to sleep some more. No, you don't understand. Catherine tried to sit up, but Rosa pushed her down gently. You need rest, Cat. I hate him. This is all his fault. She sniffed, but settled down on her pillow once more. When she spoke again, it was in a whisper. Rosa, She chewed on her dry, chapped lips for a moment, as if she couldn't get the words out. I don't think I love him anymore. What? A dry sob escaped her, followed by tears rolling down her cheeks. Had Catherine really just said that? But I don't understand this. When I think of him, Her voice cracked. She shuddered under the blanket like an ill breeze had just sprung up in the room. It's like bugs are crawling under my skin. I can't bear to look at him anymore, I just can't. I can't even say his name. Why? Do you remember when exactly you started feeling this way? That night. Rosa winced. Catherine covered her face with her hands. It was a horrible night. Rosa's chest hurt. Was this her fault? She didn't know what she had done, but didn't she do something to her? I'm sorry. Catherine went on like she hadn't heard her. I went to his room. We spent the night together. Rosa waited for Catherine to continue, but the girl stared blankly. She just stopped speaking, as if forgetting she ever spoke at all. Cath, did he hurt you that night? No. Maybe? Catherine shook her head. I don't know. She grabbed her head and sobbed. The grip on Rosa's heart tightened. How can this be? Her eyes drowned in tears. I love him, Rosa, don't I? I remember everything. I love him, I know I do. I'm sure I do. But I hate him too, to the very core. I want to hurt him and punish him. For something. I want to snuff out the breath from his throat. But sometimes Catherine's eyes went blank. I just don't care for him at all. Sometimes I feel nothing. Nothing at all. And that scares me more. She laid on the bed quiet now, letting the tears flow out of her eyes without wiping them. I'm going mad, Rosa. Catherine. I am, aren't I? Like my sister? Like my mother. It runs in our blood. They said I am a child of a mad woman. They said I'm going to turn out exactly like her. Rosa stroked her hair and tried her best to soothe her, saying that everything would be all right. They were empty words, but she didn't know what else to say. She wanted them to be true so badly, for her friend's sake as well as her own. Was Gilmay really the cause of Catherine's confusion and pain? Pangs of guilt pricked her like tiny needles. Or was this her fault? Rubbish, you fool. This is all his fault. I can feel it. We must get to the bottom of this. Yes, Mother. Rosa looked down on her best friend and nodded slightly to herself. Everything will be all right, Catherine, I promise. She would make it all right somehow. She had to. The physician arrived shortly, but he did little to help Catherine. Catherine never regained her personality. She remained moody and irritable, breaking out into fits of hysterical laughter or heartbreaking sobs at seemingly random intervals. Gilmay and Rosa would take turns to tend to her. Her moods fluctuated, her temper uncontrollable. There were times she begged for attention from Gilmay, almost clinging to him in despair, never letting him out of her sight. Other times she couldn't stand his very presence. Soon neither Gilmay nor Rosa could console her anymore. She withdrew entirely from the household. She starved herself, stopped coming to the meals, stopped caring for herself. Her manic episodes degraded to long stretches of blank silence. Emptiness ruled her life. Looking at her eyes in those last days, it was like a fire had been snuffed out behind them. Like the star that had been shining through them had imploded. Okay. There we go. Alright, so now we're into chapter 5. Thankfully that didn't take as long as it is. Well, chapter 5, which is Psyche, and... Hi, Chihuahuas. Good lord, I don't like these sounds. Take revenge for me. Rosa's hands were over her head. She pressed herself to a corner, panting. She had never heard Mother this loud before. Take revenge. This one was so loud it rattled around her skull and made her vision blur. Mother? What more do you want? The spell is already... She bent her head down, black spots creeping to the edge of her vision. She was so tired. You cannot hide anything from me. What is this doubt you are nursing? You are hesitating. You are crafting another spell. You stupid harlot. That filthy Marquis is exactly the kind of monster I've been warning you about. You dare plan behind my back? I just don't want to kill anymore, Mother. She couldn't help but answer back this time. How could she not? After years full of love and acceptance, it made her realize all the more how precious life was. The thought of snuffing out somebody else's life sent a detestable shiver through her bones. She had planned on running away from this place, abandoning whatever duty that now fell into her hands. Why was it her duty anyway? She just wanted to take the good memories of this place and taint them no longer. Whatever truth she sought wasn't enough payment for peace. I don't want to. Her voice shook. I don't want to kill him, Mother. I don't want to kill anyone, please. Is this cowardice or stupidity? Okay, so let's see. We have two things. You fancy him, don't you? You hate him, don't you? I guess we will choose... Because like I said, I had already played through this before, but the recording got messed up, so I'm trying to remember what it was I chose last time. We'll just go with... I don't know, option number 2? Look deep into your heart and you will find it, child. As there is deep love, there is burning hate. A hate so strong it compels to end a life. Yes, darling, let it burn in you. This is fire... hello. This is fire that consumes the same way. Channel it. Use it. No, please. Rosa's head began to throb and a vile sickness spread through her stomach. He took everything away from you, darling. He took Catherine. He will not stop. He needs to be punished. With this final proclamation, Rosa was struck to the floor. The feeling of fainting was stronger than ever. Alone in the dark, she lay there, panting like a sick dog, waiting for what would come next. Gilmay killed me. Okay, so now the voice we're going to hear next is from Catherine, because I'm pretty sure that's what this represents, this white with a different color text. He made me love him, and then he betrayed me. He deserves death. Only you can kill him. I can't kill him. It's what I want. That's not true. It is. You're my best friend, Rosa. Friends avenge each other, don't they? My darling daughter. I could always count on you to do the right thing. So kill him. Kill Gilmay. Kill him. Promise me. Make him suffer. Stab him with a knife. And it says she laughs. Okay. Stick a dagger down his throat. Gouge his eyes out. Take. Revenge. Rosa clutched her head so hard she thought her skull would burst. For a long moment she lay as though she were dead. 5 minutes, 10 minutes passed. Then in the middle of the empty room, Rosa's voice rang out as clear as a bell. I understand. Rosa knocked on Gilmay's door. Okay, there we go. Finally the weird sound stopped. Rosa knocked on Gilmay's door carrying a tray of food. She had been poisoning his meals in small doses for weeks now, taking note of any ill effects it yielded. There had been none. Gilmay was as still, fit, and healthy as ever. No symptoms at all, even after she had increased the dosage. Either he hadn't eaten anything for a month, or he was immune to poison. Both possibilities were suspect. Rosa knocked again. There was no response from the other side of the door. It may have worked. It was not a total loss, however. She remembered Catherine mentioning how particular Gilmay was with his sleep. Just as she had been about to give up, she had ventured on this hunch. It was true. Gilmay was, curiously, rather sensitive to sedatives. Rosa had offered rose tea to Gilmay that afternoon under the guise that she had made a new recipe. It had been laced with opium and valerian, sweetened with honey to mask the taste. Whether or not it was the casting of Philia, he had drunk it without second thought. He had retired early that evening. Rosa noted the grogginess visible in his gait. Okay. She snuck the master key this evening. Tonight is her night. Rosa pushed the door to his room open. Rosa? Okay, I'm going to be honest. This is slightly different than I remember when I first played through this. I think I might have chosen a slightly different option, so now I'm getting some different results. Not that it matters, but okay. It took a couple seconds for her eyes to adjust to the darkness. It felt like a different world inside this room. By closing the door, it was as if she had cut herself off from the living. Rosa took an unsure step once she found her bearings. She placed the tray of food on the nearest flat surface, careful not to make any noise. The candle she lit provided little comfort. It seemed to cower from the intimidating blanket of shadows. Rosa heaved. The air felt humid here, the atmosphere almost stale. Now that she was inside and venturing deeper, a sudden impulse to find the door gripped her. She looked back. It seemed farther away. Why was she so anxious? She had been in this room before. It was perfectly normal. Tonight, it was a different story. The room seemed to breathe. Rosa gulped. What a curious word. There was no other way to describe it, though. The flickering shadows made it seem like the walls were respiring around her. The room felt alive. It was asleep like its owner, but alive. In the dim light of her candle, the red carpet looked like flesh. The furnishings were viscera? Okay. It didn't feel like she entered a room at all, but a belly. Ew. Something darted in the corner of her eye. Rosa snapped her head. Just a curtain. Rosa let out the breath she was holding in her chest, aware of every move her body made. She tiptoed towards the canopy. It was perhaps the highlight of the room, an organic monstrosity of red plush and velvet. From afar, it didn't look like a bed at all, but a cage. If the room was a cavern of meat, then this was its heart. Rosa approached. Every muscle in her body was tense. Oh, there he is. He is snoozing. She could see a figure sprawled on the bed, limbs sticking out clumsily. And from what the looks of it, it looks like he's sleeping on top of the covers instead of under them. Okay. He was lying on his chest, back bare, clothes littering the floor. Gilmay seemed to have fallen into the bed instead of climbing in. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, just from what you can see over here. One of his arms stuck out from the mattress. His breath was fitful but slow, a light snore coming from him. What was that? Rosa looked around for the source of the noise, but the room was still. A slow trickle of sweat traced her spine. Did that come from the window? Should she check? Seriously. Oh, I'm having problems reading today. Rosa didn't move. Something was in the room with her. She could feel it. She stole a glance at Gilmay. He hadn't moved from the bed. Rosa's ears tried to pick up the faintest noise. It felt like hours of her staying frozen on that spot, wishing to blend with the darkness. But there was no one there. She had probably imagined it. She took a deep breath and calmed herself down. The sooner she was out of this room, the better. Philia's effect would diminish once the candle died. After that, she might not have another chance. She had to find out more about him tonight. The thought of her goal helped steel her nerves. Where should she begin? She took a step. Rosa darted her head, looking for the source of the skittering noise. Her ears were too sensitive now. She heard every creak and moan in the room. She took a deep breath. Focus. Rosa surveyed everything. There was a book by Gilmay's bedside table. It was only a couple steps away, but she'd have to come dangerously close to the bed. As much as she could, she'd rather maintain the distance between her and the creature on the bed. Creature. Why did she think that? Perhaps it was the arrangement of the sheets, or the shadows playing their tricks, but Rosa shook her head. Perhaps there was another place to look? We've come here to gather information. You should check the book. Rosa sighed. Mother was right. She had to check every source to be sure. She inched herself closer to the bed. The faint candlelight indicated the book on the bedside was red. It wasn't the journal she had seen Gilmay write in. Rosa tiptoed her way closer. Gilmay's hand dangled mere inches away. She reached her arms towards the book and swiped it noisily. Apparently. The candle almost went out with her sigh. She backed up from the bed with the book under her arm. Adrenaline surged in her blood. It almost made her smile. Rosa examined her prize. A book in a foreign language. She remembered seeing such thin, obscure characters somewhere. She wasn't sure which country, but it was probably Asian. She flipped the book and saw a piece of parchment folded on one of the pages. A sailing permit for a barge named La Victoria, dated for the end of the month. 2 days from now. The outline... Oh, hello. It outlined the cargo and the purposes of the trip with no date of return. Traveling? No. Leaving. Gilmay was planning to leave. This was a suspicion she had since she started observing him. His sudden aloofness with the town affairs, the secret purchase of a ship, the decrease of servants in his employ. Now it was confirmed. It's just as well we found this. We must end it tonight before he has a chance to escape. Although it was a good thing to confirm this suspicion, the fact helped her little. If anything, it just made it even more urgent to find something tonight. She had to continue. Rosa steadied herself and stepped back to the bed. Her hand finally brushed against the wood of the table after some quiet fumbling. She caught sight of something shiny inside the drawer. Open it, child. Rosa pulled the drawer open, ever so slightly. She peeked inside. Inside was an ornate dagger of a golden hilt, set in with rubies. It's hard to see all that detail since it's dark, but okay. An old, delicate pattern was carved on its blade. There was a heat emanating from it, almost like it was alive, like the rest of the room. She almost missed it in the dim light, but there was also a key in the same cabinet. Take the dagger first, take the key first. Oh, boy. Okay, well, this is interesting. I'm assuming the key is important. And technically, the dagger is there, so logically, if for whatever reason she has to defend herself, she could just grab it right after, but we'll take the key. Take the key and leave that dagger. I have a bad feeling about that weapon. Leave it be. Rosa agreed with Mother. The weapon was as sinister as it was beautiful. She didn't want to touch it. Oh, okay, fine. I guess there's some hocus-pocus on the little dagger then? Okay, fine. Rosa took the tiny key into her hand, feeling the cool metal against her palm. She pushed the drawer back. Gilmay shifted. Rosa blew the candle out. She scuttled behind the small table. It barely hit her. Gilmay had changed positions in his sleep. Now his face was in full view and facing her direction. Rosa's heart banged in her chest. It was so loud she was concerned the room might echo the sound and announce her intrusion. Rosa waited for a few minutes before moving. She decided to crouch down, holding the unlit candle close to her chest. Easy now. She shuffled away from the bed in relief. The candle was dead, but her eyes were now well adjusted to the darkness. She could make out a desk in the furthest part of the room. He must do most of his writing there. There was a huge chance the journal was near. It wasn't very dignifying, but Rosa decided to crawl towards it. It's okay. It's not dignified to crawl even though you're sneaking into this man's bedroom and you're looking through his things. Okay, sure, let's do something despite being undignified. I mean, I think something being undignified is the least of your concerns right now, Rosa. Now, the Gilmay's face was in full view. A flutter of the eyelid was all it would take to catch her. It would be better to minimize her risks. She dropped to her knees and placed her palms on the floor. What the hell? Okay, what was that weird noise? What'd she do? Did she land on a sponge or something? Seriously, what was that? She drew her hand back. Was she imagining it? When her palms touched the floor, it felt warm. Wet. Ew. That's gross. Her fingers were sucked into the floor as if she touched soft, pulpy flesh. Okay, oh man, this is getting weird. The hallucination was so strong that her nose detected a spray of iron in the air. Her stomach heaved. She rubbed her hand. There was no wetness or blood anywhere. The floor was solid. It must have been her imagination. Rosa touched the floor warily, patting it and pulling on the carpet fibers. Just a normal carpet. Rosa let out slow, small breaths as she started to move once more. She patted her way to the desk. Every time her skin came into contact with the floor, bile rose up her throat. It took some effort to resist the urge to gag. Finally, the desk was directly in front of her. She looked back at the bed. From this angle, it was hard to tell if Gilmay had moved. She hoped that the big desk also hid her in its shadows. Rosa rummaged. There was no trace of the book on the tabletop. She only found a pot of ink, loose sheets of paper, and a quill. That damn thing had to be close. Boy, she's making more noise than she should. She opened the first shelf and found a stack of papers. Nothing. She shuffled through them, but the drawer didn't have the journal. She looked through the second drawer. You were making a lot of noise, Rosa. And the third. There was nothing of interest. Finally, she pulled on the last drawer. It was locked. Rosa sucked the air through her teeth. Of course it's locked. How could I have been so stupid? Rosa slumped in a depressed heap. The key. Rosa looked at the key in her hand. She slid into the hole and heard the lock click. A deep feeling of relief washed over her. The drawer slid open. Rosa looked inside. There it was. In her eyes, the green journal was a treasure. She lifted the book from its resting place. It was heavier than she expected. Rosa smiled. She ran her hands along the velvet cover of the book, savoring the texture. At last, she had it. Child. Oh, now we got the creepy music again. Mother's voice was riddled with anxiety. Something is wrong. Her excitement had clouded her senses. Almost at once she felt the change in the air. What the hell? Now the room's changing. Everything was still. Her stomach shrunk into its cavity. Fresh sweat broke out on her scalp. This silence. It had weight. It pressed on her skin and made the air thin in her lungs. Rosa stood up. She had to leave. Now. Rosa shuffled her way out of the room. With every step, her legs seemed to stick uncomfortably to the floor. It slowed her movement. One more step. Her whole foot felt like sinking. She held onto a chair and staggered back. It was throbbing, musty and red, alive and without skin. Oh, this is very nasty. The air was filled with the unmistakable stench of fresh meat. Rosa ran to the door. She didn't care that the handle seemed to curl around her fingers. She pushed the door open and spilled into the corridor. Rosa fell to her knees while she heard the door close behind her. It almost felt like the door closed by itself. In her confusion, she couldn't be sure. Rosa's heart pounded heavily in her ribs. Just looking at the doorway of the room made her skin crawl. Rosa gathered her wits and stared at the journal in her hand. She hoped it would contain the information they needed. Oh, wait, we're at chapter 6? Good intentions. Okay, so I'm going to say this right now. When I first played through the part that I originally had recorded that got messed up, we got way different stuff that was going on. Whenever I first recorded through this, and like I said, that's a recording that got botched, and unfortunately that will never be uploaded because it got botched. We had different results happening. She never snuck into his room in the part that I first recorded, and it was showing a backstory of her and her mother. Now we're getting a way different circumstances, so yay! Things are exciting again. In the warm, dim light of the hello. I can't read today, sorry. In the warm, dim light of the library, Rosa opened the journal's cover. She wasn't too surprised to find that a number of entries were written in different tongues. The dates jumped from decade to decade. The writing spanned centuries. Another suspicion validated. Gilmay was not human. Or at least, he did not have a normal human lifespan. So what is he, immortal or something? This discovery made Rosa search her mind for her date of birth. It distressed her that she could not remember. She shook her head and turned back to the journal. Despite the multitude of languages, the first entry was translated into several languages. For sentimental reasons, perhaps? Or maybe a feeble attempt at reminiscing a more innocent time. Oh yay, we get to read the journal. I am learning to write... Adela? What is that? Alia gave me paper. I like Alia. She wants me to call her mother. She smells like oranges. She says I'm a gift from the goddess, but I don't know any goddesses. Alia calls me Rai. I guess that is my name now. It is nice to have a name. The other preceding pages were still in a different language. Rosa flipped through the pages until she came upon one she could read. They call me Eros, a god, a divine. They don't understand what I am. They either build me statues or spit at my feet. I am a muse. I am a blight. a symbol, but I am not the answer. It seems ironic, isn't it, that love craves love above all. That which I need, that which I am, poisons me to the point that I am sick of its taste. May 6th, year unknown. I see it in the way people look at me, the way they act around me. Some would, of course, think of me as blessed. I have youth, health, and the gift of being loved. But I have found out that these gifts are curses as well. My youth forces me to always wander. My looks guarantee that I will always stand out. And love, the very same urge that blesses me quickly, turns rabid. Yet I understand why. Oh, love, we all crave it, don't we? In the end, we are all drunk on the idea that only love could heal our brokenness. They all think I am this cure. But I keep hoping there might be something else besides this twisted sentiment. There must be, mustn't there? Rosa reads the words and found them tugging at her heart. This was the same feeling she had had for years. It almost seemed like the words were her own. I know I'm not supposed to be writing this. God forgive me, I do not want to write it down. If I do, it will be the truth. Oh Lord, please forgive me, I didn't mean to do it. I just wanted to stop hurting. I am hiding now. I slashed my face and cut my hair as they would not recognize me. Pain is good, a penance. Oh Lord, please, if there is a God listening, please strike me down. Bad memories begin to surface in Rosa's mind. Desperation. A cornered animal that fought back. It reminded her of her own sins. Her hands were drenched in red. And yet, here she was, planning to kill another man. This had been her goal all along, hadn't it? That same familiar guilt began to stir in her mind. She bit her lip. Rosa skipped some entries. Most of them were garbled, almost incomprehensible. They were written in old ink, faded and unloved. Still, though, they were melancholic. They painted a picture of a man with sufficient black humor to keep sane. November 28th. Once again, year unknown. The plague has confirmed my suspicion that I do not die from sickness. I don't know how to feel about that. Everyone is dead. But on the bright side, everyone is dead. Okay. What? The bad thing, everyone is dead, but on the bright side, they're all dead, so, yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, now we have a year now. June 7th, 1489. Ooh, that's a long time ago. For decades, wow, there's a lot of writing popping up on here. Wow, sheesh, how much text am I reading? Oh, good lord. For decades, I have searched for something in this life, and I am always disappointed by transience. What am I looking for? Meaning, hope, love, death, maybe? I can bleed. Wounds to the heart heal slower than the rest of my body. I think I may die if wounded enough. I have tried that. There was a time when seeing myself bleed was the only reminder that I am not numb. Yet my body does not form scars. No matter how many times I draw my knife, like any sign of age or ugliness, they all fade. A wrinkle today, gone the next, as if my body isn't even my own to brand. That is a shame. I want to mar my body so badly that anyone who sees me will flee. But I've tried that too. People are crueler when you are ugly. Why is that? Why do they feel the need to punish you simply because you are detestable? Perhaps because they can, or perhaps because it is easy to be cruel to those which do not belong. I don't belong. It would be nice to disappear one day. There it is. There is confirmation that he can be killed. So he bleeds like everyone else, but heals enough not to die. A strike to the heart. If we find a way to leave this wound open, perhaps he can be exterminated. Rosa continued reading. Another feeling was starting to grow in her chest. She began to question her cause the more she read through the journal. I have been staying in the old March farm. They are good people. They invited me to eat with them, and it was the warmth of their fire that I knew then that I must leave. I will only destroy their happiness. For the briefest of moments, I was able to experience what it is like to be a family. Not an outsider, but accepted. Rosa shuffled through more pages and saw a different penmanship in one such entry. It caught her eye. January 1500. New century. I like it. I smell change in the air. It is so much easier to lie when you have the means. Trading is a good sport. My name nowadays is Baron Eric Derbyshire. How could I have forgotten mankind's paralyzing obsession with titles? Names have power. Titles have power. I simply bought a horse and good robes and introduced myself as such. Everyone fawned over it. I could get used to this. The taste is refreshing. I must plan this better next time. A background, a story. People love stories. Maybe I shall be an actor next? March 27th, 1507. Cretans. Hello. Cretans everywhere. Human nature stays the same. The powerful will take advantage of the damned, so it is all a struggle for control. Is that all there is? I have thought it would be different somehow. In a learned class, in a different era, what was I expecting? Fortunately, I am already well acquainted. The next entry's penmanship is scratchy and difficult to understand. December 1st, 1550. I am tired of this life. It is all an endless cycle, and I can't stand the taste of this any longer. Love turns to ash in my mouth. I am trying to stop. I want to stop. It is my 7th day without consuming anything other than normal food. It barely grazes the bottom of my stomach. I want to see if I will die without eating love. I am sick of this. Now you know what he is, Rosa. He consumes love. I do not know exactly what he is, but he is a monster. A demon. Didn't I tell you? I felt it in my bones. Let's read a little more. Perhaps there might be more. December 4, 1550. This is my 10th day without it. I am still alive. Barely. I can't even see where I am writing anymore. I am so weak. My body is in pain. Am I dying? I am afraid. After all my whining, I still want life. Isn't that funny? I am sleeping again. Sleep is the only thing that sustains me. It is dangerous for me to linger in sleep's domain, especially when I have not eaten. I have to keep writing. It's the only way to tell my mind is still my own. Maybe I should find something. I can't take it anymore. So that was why he fell so easily for the sedatives. That is not all. Perhaps we can destroy him this way as well. He is most vulnerable right now. If we attack now, he won't be able to put up any defenses. February 12th, 1601. February 12th. Anyway. I've rewritten all of my entries into a new journal. I've kept some that were close to my heart. I don't know why I still keep writing. Perhaps this journal is my will to live. I look back on it and it reminds me of the years I've endured. Sometimes I have a suspicion that this is my only reason. This perverse, obsessive compulsion to hoard time. Years. Names. It can't end because it's such a shame. It is almost time to leave again. August 19th, 1605. My ship arrived in France today. I plan to settle in a smaller town. I'm sick of the taste of instant gratification. Maybe I will try a different approach next time. I need to blend in with the citizens first. My French needs work. June 29th, 1724. Why do I keep doing this to myself? I shouldn't care so much. It always ends up broken or destroyed. I never learn. I should leave before. The entry was not finished, and some fresh pages were torn out of the book. Even though there were no names mentioned, Rosa felt that the last entry was for Catherine. There were more entries that she didn't explore, but she decided to close the book. She had read enough for now. Oh, I got an achievement. Incomplete journal. Rosa's hands were shaking by then. A growing feeling of understanding came over her. His thoughts were too much like her own. They were too similar. Guilme consumes love. Rosa remembered the taste in her mouth when she had kissed Catherine. There was something else in that kiss. A boundless flavor that coated her mouth and made her realize how hungry she was. The same night that Catherine began to change. Rosa's throat throbbed. Why in the world? Now it's getting creepy all of a sudden. The thumping felt like it resonated through her whole body. Rosa fell to her knees. That same feeling of dread began to rise up in her throat. The mere mention of the thought seemed to summon the feeling in her chest. She gagged. Did I taste Catherine's love that night? Then that means that I am also... Mother? Am I the same? Oh, finally figured it out, have you? Do you see it now, my child? He is a monster. The very thing I stopped you from becoming. Don't you see? I saved you. I stopped you from feeding on other people's love. I didn't want you to be filthy. Mother's love is all you need. Okay. That's interesting. You've learnt enough. Now you know what to do. Kill him. Wee, she's not happy. He is what I have feared the most, Rosa. Okay, so he must perish. Rosa's face contorted into worry. The discovery of Guilme's identity shook her to her core, but it also made her feel the burden of their years together. Perhaps the understanding of his pain as well. Must we really do this, Mother? You still have doubts after everything you've learned? No, but This knowledge just makes me want to... You stupid child. Can't you see it is what should be done? Do it for the greater good, do it for me. I say the greater good because I don't really like Mother that much in this story. He should be stopped. It is the right thing to do. Is it really? It is easy to say that, but what do you really want? To destroy him, of course, to stop him from hurting more people. I say to stop him from hurting more people. I mean, if this is... Because I guess the way I see it, if Gilmay knows that he can hurt people by loving them, and I guess by causing them to kind of, lose their minds and stuff, and if he still continues to do it, it's... I see it like that. He must be stopped. If he will not stop, then there will be more victims in the future. He has grown in pride and greed. There is no telling what he will do in the future. He is nothing but a monster, a rabid dog that must be put down. But is it really the right thing? Is death the only way to change him? Oh, boy. We have yes it is or maybe not. It's blah, 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 blah. Let's choose maybe not. Let's see what happens. Maybe not. But must we risk it? Oh, so it didn't matter. She still says that we still gotta do it. He's become haughty and powerful. Soon enough this power will drive him mad. Am I not like him, Mother? I am also a monster. We are the same. I say no, you're not. 'Cause you aren't intentionally hurting people. You are not a monster. I have raised you, guided you, and loved you enough. All my sacrifices were for you, to stop you from turning into something like him. Oh, I was afraid. Always. Always. But you are my dear daughter. Wait, the look on her face is creeping me out right now. He may be a monster, but you are not. Because of me. Because of a mother's love for her child. Now that you know his true face, there is only one thing to do. Kill him. No. No? I think he can change. Perhaps I might still be able to save him. Okay, so we have he will never change, he will not listen to you. We'll go with the top one. You cannot change him, child. This is his nature. That kind of creature has no redemption. Yes, but isn't he a creature of love? So am I. Love, no matter how lonely and depraved, always gives all of itself. Only I can understand. Only I can save him. That is why I want to try. So you are throwing all our efforts away. Let's ask, what do you intend to do? The spell cannot be reversed now. It is dangerous to leave it unfinished. I will light Agape and make him remember. You are to do no such thing. Will that even work? What if it doesn't work, child? Agape is a blessing, not a curse. A monster of his caliber will only shrug it off. And what will become of you, then? Please don't do this. Trust in me, Mother. I will do the right thing. You? You? What could you possibly hope to do, you dumb child? You are ignorant, naive. Just a brainless, dangerously idealistic girl with her head up in books and fiction. There is no happy ending in this life, you worm. Oh, hello. Oh, you bring me so much pain. I should have abandoned you years ago. Ouch. You cannot hurt me any longer, Mother. I know that you love me. You are my memory. As such, I want to remember you as the one person who cared for me. You who stayed with me despite my burden to your soul. Not the tainted woman who abused me. It is my fault you act this way. Your voice is my own insecurities and my own pain. Now, not anymore. How dare you degrade me into an apparition? I am real. Listen to me. You believe in me, don't you, Mother? You have guided me well. Believe in me. Believe that I am doing the right thing. I love you so much, but I cannot follow all of your wishes anymore. Let me make my own decisions from now on. Scream at her, plead. We'll just plead, because that seems better. My darling, I know you are strong now, but please, are you not going to avenge me? Wouldn't you do that for me? Revenge? Is it really what you want? Will that give you the peace you seek? Yes, or I don't know. Well, I mean, it's not the mother's problem, in all honesty, because, I guess if there's anyone you'd be avenging, it would be Catherine. It wouldn't be your mom, but, okay, we'll just say I don't know. What else? I do not think revenge is what you really want. I don't know what you are talking about. You are a part of me, Mother. You are me. You simply crave punishment. You crave atonement. Is it not true? Darling, what will become of me now without my role to guide you? Can you really make it on your own? Of course, Mother. I will still listen to you and love you. But my mind is clear. I am capable. I will save him whether you allow me to or not. Why? Why are you making an effort to save him, after all that he has done? Because I am all he has left. But you have seen what he really is. You have seen his true ugly face. We are all ugly. I want to believe there is something worth saving in him as well. After all, Mother, where would I be if you had not seen beauty in me too? I'm sorry, Mother. I know you hate him from the bottom of your heart, but I have already forgiven him. Like how I've already forgiven you. How dare you? And I understand. We'll choose the second one. I cannot stop you from feeling this way, can I? I will try to save him from himself because that's what I'm supposed to do. Perhaps that is the reason why I was sent his way. I got to spend years with him and have memories of him. He taught me how to be strong. I was happy knowing him. It is more than I can ask. You do know that he does not feel the same way for you. He does not love you, child. Yes. That makes me better than him. Because I love him without asking for anything in return. A concept that has never yet crossed his mind. Oh, I'm still choosing stuff. We have stop or so be it. Oh, there we go. So be it. Just know that he is powerful and full of pride. He will not take kindly to being bound by magic. We can only hope, Mother. I don't trust him. Please take care of yourself. Please take care of yourself. I'm always here in your memories, my dear. Whatever happens, please take care of yourself. Thank you, Mother. My beautiful daughter. I love you. Oh, wow, I got 2 achievements in one thing. Chapter 8, Transience. Okay, I think... Alright, we are going to stop right here. Go ahead and save. I'm going to save in a new slot, because I've learned my lesson from what happened last time. We don't want to make the same mistake again. So that is it. That is a pretty good stopping point. We are actually... So apparently we skipped chapter... Did we skip chapter 7? Because that was in chapter 6, and I guess we skipped chapter 7, so we're going to be getting a different ending than I thought we would. Which is fine by me, actually. And chapter 8, according to the game, is the last chapter, so yay! This will probably finish up much faster than I thought it would. So I guess for those of you that are sticking around with this, well, you're going to be seeing completely brand new stuff just like I am, because like I said, last time when I was playing through the game, I'm guessing certain choices I made gave it to where it actually showed Rosa's background for mother, and it actually showed the type of person her mother was, but because that recording didn't record properly and it got scrapped, so now we're getting brand new stuff entirely, which is actually kind of cool. We're getting different look, but anyway, regardless of this, regardless how long this episode is, if you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed this Let's Play, you know the drill. Like, fave, subscribe, all that good stuff. And with that said, I will see you guys around later. Much. Bye.